Hello and a very warm welcome. It's good morning from San Jose in the United States. After a smashing season 1, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is back for round 2 of Namaste United States. He's landed in New York. He has a series of meetings lined up all through this week. He'll be dashing from coast to coast, starting off in the East Coast, coming to the West Coast, where there's huge excitement here in Silicon Valley where we are, because Prime Minister Modi becomes the first Prime Minister in more than 3 decades to travel here. But the big question in New York is whether or not Prime Minister Modi will meet his Pakistani counterpart Nawaz Sharif. Unlike previous years, this year they're both staying at the same hotel at the famous Waldorf Astoria in New York. Will there be a chance meeting? The MEA says nothing is fixed up, but no one's ruling out a chance meeting either. My colleague Smita Sharma files this first dispatch from the US.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is back in America, his second visit in as many years. And just like the last time, he received a resounding welcome in New York. A huge crowd of Indian community members lined up outside the Waldorf Astoria hotel to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister. And as he stepped out of his car, Modi chants reverberated.
Well, it's the second official American visit for the Indian Prime Minister, but clearly, as far as the enthusiasm amongst the Indian community is concerned, that doesn't seem to have waned, because people still waiting hours for a glimpse of Prime Minister as he arrives in New York. But let's try and get a sense from them as to how has the bilateral relationship, the Indo-American relationship, gained momentum. At the end of the day, these are the Indians or the Indian origin people who have now been, of course, earning their bread and butter and spending their lives in America as well. So, you know, what really has changed since the time Narendra Modi came in last year to now? How has the relationship changed between India and America?
I'm not sure, but we are very hopeful for the things to happen. Things never happen overnight, but little by little things are getting better now.
We have seen the relationship between India and America has been improved. Over here we see our more weight of the Indian government and Indian policies.
Prime Minister Modi will have a packed agenda for the next 2 days in the city. He will be in California from September 26th to 27th. But all eyes are on a possible meeting between Prime Minister and his Pakistani counterpart. Sources have told India Today that the possibility of an informal Modi-Nawaz meeting is very high. Both are staying at the same hotel and are bound to bump into each other sometime or the other.
Smita Sharma from India Today. You know, 28th is when the Indian Prime Minister will also be at the UN Peacekeeping Summit. So his paths will cross with the Pakistani Prime Minister, Mr. Nawaz Sharif. And both the gentlemen are also staying in the same hotel. So even though there's no scheduled meeting, but what are the chances maybe of a handshake, a pull aside, or will there be a deliberate attempt at the paths not crossing?
No, there will be no deliberate attempt. If a handshake happens, you will get to see it. If a pull aside happens, you will get to see it. As of now, there is nothing, no bilateral meeting.
Technology and terror are on top of the Prime Minister's agenda. The trip holds tremendous promise. The question is, will it deliver more substance than hype? With Smita Sharma in New York, Bureau Report, India Today.
Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Mark Zuckerberg, the biggest names of Silicon Valley will all be lining up to meet with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The big focus is on digital India, stand up, start up India, make in India. And the Prime Minister is here to woo these digital bigwigs to try and get them to enhance their efforts in India. A short while before now, Google CEO of Indian origin Sundar Pichai put out a statement welcoming the Prime Minister to the United States.
It's an honor to be welcoming Prime Minister Modi to Silicon Valley this coming weekend. There is tremendous excitement for your visit amongst all Googlers and the entire Indian community. We are looking forward to your remarks at the SAP Center in San Jose and also when you come to Google. The bond between India and Silicon Valley is strong. India has long been an exporter of talent to tech companies. The products built by Indian graduates from IIT and other institutions have helped to revolutionize the world. But it is India that's now undergoing its own revolution. This will have great benefits for everyone in the country. We'll get people online for the first time, people in rural areas, Indic language speakers, girls who will learn new skills and will have successful careers, and businesses of all sizes will be able to find new customers. Prime Minister Modi's Digital India vision is central to this revolution. It focuses on connecting the 1.2 billion people in India. It has received tremendous support both in India and in Silicon Valley. We at Google, as well as many others around the world, are passionate about playing our part. There is no more important role for tech companies today than helping to connect the next billion internet users. Some of the initiatives we are working on, making our products work on low bandwidth and even offline, make the web accessible in Indic languages, providing low-cost Chromebooks to Indian schools, and investing in core infrastructure and affordable smartphones with Android One. In the next few years, we think 50 million women and 20 million small businesses will get online for the first time. Prime Minister Modi, welcome to Silicon Valley. We hope your visit will energize people in the Valley, excite Indians all across the country, and renew and strengthen our partnership.
This morning in New York, Prime Minister Narendra Modi caught up with some of the biggest investors, foreign institutional investors who've been looking at the India story with a lot of interest, but they also have several concerns about the speed of the reform process that the Prime Minister is undertaking, about the fact that there's been a lot of talk but not as much delivery on the ground. The Prime Minister, of course, was at hand to try and assuage some of these concerns. My colleague Smita Sharma caught up with some of the top institutional investors who were there at this meeting to understand what they made of their interaction with Prime Minister Modi.
Ma'am, what was the biggest takeaway from that interaction, really?
The biggest take would be that he continues to be very serious about implementing reforms that will make it attractive for global investors to invest in India.
But have you seen action on the ground back home in India that perhaps gives you more assurance that you could come in bigger numbers?
I would say there's still more to come, but possible changes in the bankruptcy law are an example. Decisions that he's taking to make it much easier to transact and to get your money out once you've invested. The initial decisions that he's taken have made us very optimistic.
If it's New York and if Narendra Modi and Nawaz Sharif are in the same hotel at roughly the same time, then the 1.5 billion people question is, will the Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan meet? I want to go across now live to my colleague Smita Sharma. She's tracking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit in New York. She's joining us. Morning, Smita. The big question, of course, is will there be a chance meeting, an accidental meeting? You asked this question to the MEA. We heard what they said on record, but what are your sources telling you?
Well, good morning, Rahul, and yes, to all of you, as it's late evening in India, though. Clearly, you know, the MEA at the moment saying that as far as the bilateral official meetings are concerned, that's not going to be happening here. But, you know, this is a big hotel, Rahul, Waldorf Hotel, which is actually currently housing some 16 heads of states, including the Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, to the presidents of China and Russia. So what really are the chances of Narendra Modi and Nawaz Sharif crossing paths? Because it's only tomorrow afternoon when Nawaz Sharif arrives in here at the Sustainable Development Conference. Remember, tomorrow at the UN, it's Narendra Modi who addresses it. It's on the 27th when Nawaz Sharif addresses it. And as far as the UNGA speech goes, Nawaz Sharif is addressing, he's addressing it on 30th of September, while from the Indian side is Sushma Swaraj, who will, of course, be replying to that on 1st October. Lalit Jha, who is based in Washington, D.C., senior journalist, and is with the Press Trust of India, is here with me. Lalit, you see this hotel right now. We see the security system. What chances really of a pull aside of the two leaders walking in maybe into the lift at the same time, of just shaking hands?
Its chances are rare. Means this is a huge, as you rightly said, this is a huge hotel. There are multiple entry and exit points, and all the leaders have their own security paraphernalia going around. And with the Prime Minister, there's a special security with him. So the chances are very dim that they will cross paths.
Absolutely. The gridlocking system, keeping the security concerns in mind, will be such that the paths of two leaders don't meet unless they really wanted to meet.
Yes, that's true. And also means these security agencies coordinate among themselves what time what leader is going to be, because the New York police and the Secret Service all are coordinating. They have their own system to coordinate among all the leaders when they come out and go out.
But Lalit, you've also been in New York and Washington DC for a very long time. What are the feelers that you get from the American administration? Do you think there would be pressure on these two leaders here to try and talk in some form, whether it's a formal talk or an informal chat? Is there some considerable degree of American pressure? For now, they have said India Pakistan ne katti batti kar li hai, let them be for the moment.
No, from the US, I think I don't think there is any pressure from the US side. Pressure, if there is any, it's from the Pakistan side, who keeps on pushing America ki pressure dalo India ko means they need to talk to us. But the US has been saying we don't need to talk to you people have to take care of yourself. It's India and Pakistan leaders who will decide the time, place and venue of the meetings, not the US.
One final question, so my sense is that there is not going to be a meeting. Is there something where you will want to put your money on?
No, I can't forecast what's going to happen tomorrow when the Prime Minister of India and Pakistan are here. It's difficult to say.
Absolutely, Rahul. For now, of course, the dominating sense is that there's not going to be an official talk. But you never know. Narendra Modi is somebody who's known to pull out, some bunnies from his hat every now and then. So a chance meeting is something that we cannot rule out at the moment, Rahul.
There's always so much tamasha when there's India and Pakistan involved. They haven't been able to set the stage for a formal bilateral dialogue, but who knows, they may just bump into each other in one of the world's most famous hotels. We'll keep coming back to you, Smita and Lalit. Thank you very much for that update. I want to play out now the response that the MEA gave to the question that my colleague Smita posed on whether or not there's a possibility of a chance meeting between the Prime Minister of India and his Pakistani counterpart. Let's listen to Vikas Swaroop.
Smita Sharma from India today. 28th is when the Indian Prime Minister will also be at the UN Peacekeeping Summit. So his paths will cross with the Pakistani Prime Minister, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, and both the gentlemen also staying in the same hotel. So even though there's no scheduled meeting, but what are the chances maybe of a handshake, a pull aside, or will there be a deliberate attempt at the paths not crossing?
No, there'll be no deliberate attempt. If a handshake happens, you will get to see it. If a pull aside happens, you'll get to see it. As of now, there is nothing, no bilateral meeting on.
All through the day today, we'll be shooting with some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley. People who founded the Indus entrepreneurs, people who gave Silicon Valley the global image that it has, people who really enshrine the American dream. Why is it that they've been so successful here with cutting-edge innovations in the United States? Why are they not able to do the same back home? We'll have the big Indus Entrepreneurs India Today roundtable that will come up for you tomorrow at 10 p.m. on the Newsroom. The Prime Minister has a hectic schedule and so do we, and we'll be putting all of this together through the day today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. with an edition of the Newsroom that will be brought to you live from California in the United States. Thank you very much for tuning in to our first dispatch.